Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode.
Welcome back.
We are, as at the time of this recording, we're just a few days away from the next milestone event on Amanda's journey, which is going to be her first maintenance scan that comes at the tail end of her break of standard of care, which is the conclusion of radiation and chemo before she'll start her maintenance phase of chemo. And that scan will mark not only that milestone of getting feedback on how she's doing, but it'll also be almost 4 months since this journey began. And we thought for this video, we would just talk about first and foremost how you're feeling going into it. And then also we'd highlight maybe some of the high points and some of the frustrations on the journey the last few months. Sound good?
Yes.
So let's start with how you're feeling about going into Friday.
I am very optimistic. I'm optimistic and in preparation for being optimistic, I've been doing some behind the scenes things if it's not going to go to our favor, that we've been kind of researching plan B, plan C, plan D, just in case, just in case it's not what we want. And I think it's really helpful to be not like ahead of the game, but just really mindful of just being mindful that there's other things that we can consider.
Yeah, I think that's going in very optimistic.
Yeah.
With it, I feel like we've done a fairly good job these first few months, and of course opportunities for improvement. And I think it's always good to, with something like this, to stay on top of what alternatives are in addition to's that are out there.
Mm-hmm.
And what your first surgeon told you after the biopsy was it's one of those things that the more you can put at it, the better you increases your odds.
Yeah.
So let's talk about frustrations over the last 4 months. What are some of the more frustrating moments you've experienced?
So I went from, again, training for a race to terminal diagnosis in the same day. And there was no clear cut, like, this is what you should expect. This is like timelines. This is what you need to do. So I was very thankful I got to UCSF. I feel like I was in incredible hands with them. And then I almost felt like the moment I left UCSF, or actually the moment I got home from cottage rehab, it was like, good luck.
Yeah. It's really interesting because when you're within the four walls of the medical system, it's incredible. You watch people, you're surrounded by people 24/7 who care so deeply and who are clearly passionate about what they do.
Yes.
For them it's not a job as much as it is a calling.
Mm-hmm.
But then you get out of it and you have so many questions and so many things that aren't clear, and there is really no template or blueprint that anybody hands you. And it would be really nice that if you were given something like that, especially because you're in such a state of emotional disbelief, you're fatigued, you're tired. And of course, the irony of it is you give somebody a terminal diagnosis, and then they're supposed to expend so much of their time trying to figure out, well, what are they supposed to do next? As opposed to just giving a sheet and saying, basically, this is kind of what this looks like. You're going to do this, you're going to do this, you're going to do this. And I can appreciate that every case is going to be different. Every journey is going to be unique in of itself. That being said, some basic guidelines would be really wonderful. And I think that's something that we'll create just based off our own experience for people in the future is, gosh, this is how it looked for us. This is what we wish we would have known when. This is, information that would be really helpful to have here.
Yeah, along those lines, what would have been nice is knowing my MRI schedule and what that was going to be looking like, knowing that I needed to see my oncologist at least every other week, and that didn't happen. I almost, as everyone knows, I almost completed chemo before even seeing my provider.
Yeah, it would be, something else is just the idea of pre-scheduling all your appointments so that you're on the calendar, because you're competing against so many other patients with so few providers.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of the nature of everything right now. There's going to be more patients than providers.
Yeah.
I think for me, I guess there's two. The one that I do have control over. I'm trying to reconcile is I wake up a lot of times at night wondering if there's more I could do or should do, and I accept that that's kind of a long-term thing. There's going to be a time in the future, the hopeful future, where I can let that go because you'll be doing incredibly well.
Yes.
And
Hopefully.
but that's a hard one for me, is that feeling of, or it's frustrating, is, gosh, could I have done more today? Can I do more tomorrow? Should I have done this? Should I have done that? The other one that really still bothers me is the initial trip from the ER. So when you're at the ER, we get the initial interpretation at the ER. They transfer you over to the other hospital, to the neurological unit. It is less than 2 miles between the two hospitals. It is a 3-minute drive, and this is almost 9:30, 10 o'clock at night at this point. They took Amanda by ambulance, and what they said to us is, they said, we're going to transfer her by ambulance. Do you have your car here? You can follow behind us. Yes. Now, she walked in completely able-bodied, no medication, nothing else. We had driven there. They turned around and sent a bill for $10,000. This was less than a 3 or 4 minute ambulance ride. Didn't even get the lights and sirens.
Didn't even get the lights on. I mean,
Yeah.
if I'm just gonna blow $10,000 for the most expensive Uber of my life.
But and it's one of those things that I have so much compassion for people going into this, because again, you're supposed to, one of the things they say is, try to maintain a low level of stress, because it's a really stressful situation. There's studies that suggest stress and cancer, or any sort of disease in our body, can be a precursor or a contributor to it. And you're going to put this enormous bill on people, and I have so much compassion for people who go into this. You're in a space that we were in, where you're just shocked, you're overwhelmed, you're flooded with emotions, you don't know what to do, and then, oh, by the way, here's this. And I was reading some really sad statistic that something like 60 to 70% of all bankruptcies in the United States are due in large part because of medical.
I bet.
And it starts with things like that, versus just, again, having a conversation, saying, listen, we can take her by ambulance. She's perfectly capable of going on her own, but we can take her by ambulance, but to do that, the fee is going to be $10,000. Do you feel comfortable paying that fee?
So that's also the problem, was I did a 5-mile hike that day. I didn't have a seizure. I didn't have anything. So why was I essentially not allowed to transfer?
But it would just be nice if that was a choice, because it's an unnecessary burden to put on people in a already burdensome and challenging time.
Right.
So let's switch over and wrap up the last couple minutes with happy moments. What have been some of your favorite moments?
Seeing my friends and family. That has been incredible. I will say that COVID happened a lot with play dates that I was supposed to have with friends and family that
Remember, don't kick this, because now we're shaking on here.
Gotcha. So what was I saying?
You're saying the
COVID. Okay.
And your play dates.
All my play dates, some of them got canceled because people got really sick this past 4 weeks, and I'm excited to see even my friend Nicole, who I've known Nicole, oh my gosh, I mean, 3rd, maybe 4th grade, and she's actually going to be the person that I'm going to stay with on my MRI. And I just really have built a beautiful network of friends, and I'm sadly, this diagnosis really brought a lot of people back more regularly, and so I would say that has been a really beautiful thing.
Great lesson too. Gosh, do not wait until you have a diagnosis like this to reconnect.
Totally.
Or just connect with people who matter most. You've said that time and time again about how you've just done really well in life of collecting a lot of beautiful souls around you, and it's I think that's so much more apparent even now, is the people, it's the relationships, it's all of you who really are the true substance of life. Mm-hmm. You are the gold, you are the gift that keeps on giving. And I would say for me, one of the happy moments for this whole thing has just been hearing how genuine of laughter you and your friends have shared.
Yeah.
Those things, and then just simple moments of just going for walks and watching the birds grow up. Those kinds of things.
And I would say the cool thing about seeing my friends is most of it has been on my couch. We didn't have to pay for a really expensive meal. We didn't have to, there was no burden of like getting this table or doing that. Like we were able to just kind of like hang out and just enjoy each other's company. You can hang out with your friends for free. You don't need to like have some fancy thing to do. Like my friends have been more than willing to hang out, and they've been such wonderful. Something that's been really wonderful is I'm doing a very strict ketogenic diet, and almost every single person has been, before we hang out, hey, I really want to buy you a coffee, I really want to buy you a croissant, but I want to be mindful that that I think this is, I just want to double check that this isn't something that you want to do right now. And people have just been like, cool, you know, and they bring their own coffee, or they bring their own snacks, or they bring their own whatever. And I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything, but my friends have been like so on board of like, whatever she wants to do, we're ready.
Yeah, it's just interesting. Connection becomes enough as opposed to using some sort of social medium via the bar, the coffee shop, whatever it is, to have that be part of the process. Whereas connection is just enough.
Yeah, that's been really like the key takeaway is just friends just on their own. I don't know. It's been really really beautiful.
Okay, well, let's wrap it up, and we are going to bid everybody to do just a quick update of the rest of this week. She's going to get her MRI and the interpretation back on Friday. Just because of logistical timing, we're going to be up in San Francisco. We're trying to get out of the city before we get neck deep in rush hour traffic, simply because I need to be back in Santa Barbara for an event I'm emceeing over the weekend. Because of that, we are going to post an update to her GoFundMe page on Friday. Just Amanda will share the results. And then we will share the results here on social media and other channels on Saturday, just when we get some time to be able to upload everything. And I think that's pretty much it. Just as always, thank you so much for all of you, your continued love, support, prayers, well wishes for all this. It's really, and the whole connection thing, really one of the most beautiful parts of this is just deepening the connection with each and every one of you. So many of you have joined us on this journey, continue to be with us. You have laughed with us, you've cried with us, you've gotten angry with us, you've celebrated with us. And it's just really incredible to see that component of it coming around. And we just appreciate all of you. And remember, hold some space for Amanda on Friday
the 13th.
Yeah, and we will look forward to updating you with a positive news then on this weekend. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye. Oh, don't kick that, because then it's going to make it rock. Keep your feet in control. Okay.
Feel optimistic, and I feel that sorry.
That's how optimistic you are, huh?
No, that's not why.
That's okay. We can edit this out.
Oh boy.